Captain Zexai pressed his scaled palm against the chilled alloy of the ancient construct. 3 centuries had passed since humanity vanished from the stars, yet their architecture endured, defying both time and decay. The Zayan officer had stumbled upon these ruins on Kepler 442b during a routine survey mission, but what he uncovered here froze his blood. The technology woven into the walls was unlike anything the Galactic Federation had catalogued. Strange glyphs pulsed with a muted cerulean glow, and the metal itself seemed to distort space, painful to gaze upon directly. Zexai had been a military engineer for 4 decades, yet these human mechanisms reduced him to a child staring at the heavens. "Sir, you'll want to see this." His aide, Lieutenant Kor, stood by a colossal doorway that had parted as if welcoming their presence. Beyond stretched a corridor vanishing into darkness beyond the reach of their lights. Zexai shook his head. "We leave. Transmit the coordinates to Federation Command. Lock this site under highest restriction." "But sir, imagine the knowledge. Humans had faster-than-light engines centuries before we achieved them. Their power systems, their alloys, their science, this could advance us by millennia." The captain's tail flicked uneasily, betraying instincts buried in his people's blood. "You sound like one who never studied history, Lieutenant. The Federation's greatest law is absolute. Never trespass in human ruins. Never dissect their technology. Never rouse what was left behind." Kor's brow furrowed with disbelief. "But the humans are gone, sir. No warnings, no messages, no trace of where they fled. Why fear hollow relics of a dead race?" Zexai turned his back on the shimmering gateway, heading toward the shuttle. "Because our ancestors were not fools, and they forged that law in the blood of those who tried." 3 systems away, on the great library world of Vortani Prime, Elder Scholar Quintel closed another ancient tome with trembling hands. The young ones constantly questioned the forbidden zones, the human regions the Federation dared not enter. They could not grasp that some truths were lethal to know. The Vortani, famed for wisdom and memory, guarded 10 millennia of history. Yet even they whispered of humanity's war, and only the eldest recalled the final days before silence. His student, Ellen Ara, approached cautiously. "Master, I've studied the star charts. The forbidden zones span nearly 18% of known space. Entire systems, rich with resources, lie empty. Surely, after 3 centuries, the Council might permit limited exploration." The old Vortani's 6 eyes blinked with slow gravity. "You believe the law was made to honor the humans? What else could it be?" Quintel rose and faced the towering window that overlooked the endless expanse. The library city stretched before him, home to millions who studied and preserved knowledge from every corner of the galaxy. All of it existed only because of humanity's legacy, though the younger generations never realized it. "The law stands because the humans are not dead, child. They are merely sleeping, and there are reasons we must never wake them." Before Ellen Ara could ask more, the elder scholar dismissed her with a weary wave. Some truths were burdens, far too heavy for young minds. On Carey Central, the Federation's diplomatic hub, Dr. Nin Era assembled her research circle in a secure chamber. The Carey scientist had devoted decades to examining fragments of human technology recovered before the Great Prohibition. What little survived hinted at advances that bordered on sorcery. "The Council has rejected us again," she told the A. 12 beings seated at the table. 6 species were represented. Young, determined, all chafing under the mysteries shrouding human space. Commander Raxton, a Zaharian strategist, slammed his clawed fist down. "This is insanity. Threats press. Against our borders every year the hegemony strengthens, yet we abandon knowledge that could safeguard us, all because of superstition." "The Council's ruling is final," countered Dr. Vex Hana, a Vortani historian. "But perhaps not every form of research requires their awareness." Inthara scanned the faces around her. Each life had been dedicated to unraveling the universe, yet they were forbidden from probing its greatest enigma. That weight had bound them together, and now it tempted them toward breaking the Federation's most sacred decree. "There are ways to enter human space unnoticed," she suggested quietly. "Small expeditions, narrow goals, absolute secrecy. We need only uncover why the law was written at all." The chamber stilled. They all understood what such defiance meant. Trespassing into human territory without sanction was more than illegal. It was treason, an act some claimed could imperil the Federation itself. Yet knowledge demanded risks. "I have contacts in the guilds," offered Lieutenant Rexan, once a defector from the hegemony. "Unregistered ships can reach the Sol system unseen." "And I know the locations of the old research outposts," added Dr. Vex Hana. "The archives preserve maps from before the ban." Anthara inclined her head. "Then it is decided. We will go into human space. We will uncover the truth our elders hide." None noticed the small device embedded in the wall, its red light now pulsing. Data streamed silently across the galaxy to those who remembered the real cost of the law. Deep within the archives of Vortani Prime, ancient machines stirred from their slumber. Warnings, dormant for 3 centuries, began to awaken across networks spanning star systems. The young were about to discover why some truths demanded a price great enough to shatter worlds. The universe had one law, and now someone was about to shatter it. Dr. Nathara stared out as stars shifted when their stolen vessel dropped from hyperspace at the rim of the Sol system. The ancient yellow sun blazed ahead, surrounded by the worlds once claimed by humanity. No Federation ship had crossed into this territory for 3 centuries. Yet here they were, 12 scientists aboard a smuggler's craft, preparing to violate the galaxy's most sacred decree. "No defensive grids active," reported Commander Raxton at the controls. The Zaharian's military background made him the obvious pilot, though his claws trembled as he eased their ship inward. "Whatever the humans left behind still sleeps." The transport slid cautiously through the asteroid belt, past shattered fragments that might once have been mines or orbital fortresses. The region felt dead, abandoned, yet their sensors detected readings beyond Federation comprehension. Power, traces that should not exist. Materials twisting their scans into impossibilities. "There," said Dr. Vex Hana, pointing at her console. "Mars. The 4th world registers vast surface installations. If we hope to grasp human technology, that is where we begin." The red planet loomed closer, and as the view resolved, breath caught in every throat. Colossal cities sprawled across continents, bound by transit webs that glistened like veins. Towering domes still sheltered atmospheric processors, humming flawlessly after 3 centuries of neglect. The sheer magnitude of engineering dwarfed every Federation attempt. "How could they have built this?" Lieutenant Rexan whispered. "The energy alone should have exceeded anything within their supposed grasp." They descended toward a massive complex resembling a spaceport. Without prompting, the ancient docking systems activated, drawing them gently into a berth as though expecting their arrival. Warning lights pulsed in cryptic patterns, unreadable yet guiding rather than hindering. Anthara led them forward through the airlock into the waiting structure. The air was breathable, still maintained by systems unmonitored for centuries. Wide corridors stretched ahead, illuminated and seamless, crafted for beings nearly identical in stature to most Federation races. Yet the technology embedded in every wall, every surface, revealed wonders far beyond their imagination. "Look at this," called Dr. Keithval, a hegemony engineer specializing in energy systems. He stood before a panel displaying streams of power distribution. "They used molecular-level fusion," Not just in reactors, every tool, every device. It's as if they forced every atom to obey them. The team dispersed through the complex, recording their findings. Commander Raxton uncovered weapon platforms capable of ripping space itself apart. Dr. Vex Hanna located libraries preserving the histories of species the Federation had never encountered. Lieutenant Rexan discovered factories that could reshape matter at the atomic scale. But it was Anthara who stumbled upon the most disturbing secret. In the command center, a terminal stirred to life at her touch. Lines of text flickered, battle reports from humanity's final days. Enemy forces advancing through dimensional barriers, she read, voice tight as the others crowded around. Conventional weapons ineffective against transdimensional entities. Recommend immediate implementation of Protocol 7. All installations must prepare for extended dormancy. Victory possible, but cost will be our presence in normal space. Transdimensional entities, Raxton whispered. What were they fighting? The display shifted, projecting star charts. Arrows traced the advance of beings called Devourers. Entire systems had been consumed, erased into nothingness. Humanity had stood alone against them, and the reports described a desperate plan demanding unimaginable sacrifice. We need access to their central archives, Anthara declared. The truth lies there. Dr. Vex Hanna located a port that seemed crafted for direct neural interface. I can attempt connection, but their systems are so advanced I may not disengage safely. Do it, Anthara commanded. We came for answers. The Vortani pressed her interface into the terminal. For a heartbeat, nothing. Then her eyes widened as torrents of data surged into her mind. She lived the war through human sight, fleets clashing against nightmares that existed half outside reality. She felt the moment humanity understood that survival demanded leaving physical space entirely. They did not die, Vex Hanna gasped, pulling away, trembling. They withdrew, not from an enemy we could grasp, but from something intent on, devouring all existence. They gave themselves to build a barrier between our universe and the void beyond. Before the others could react, klaxons erupted across the facility. Warning glyphs pulsed crimson as the terminal screen blazed. The screens blazed crimson as automated systems roared to life across the city. Warnings scrolled in dozens of languages, some unknown even to Federation archives. What have you done? Raxton snapped. I interfaced with their central AI, Vex Hanna stammered. It was dormant, but our intrusion triggered reawakening protocols. Around them, the facility stirred like a giant roused from sleep. Lights blazed. Silent machines thrummed alive. The air itself vibrated, setting off alarms as radiation levels spiked. Then came the voice, echoing through every corridor, flawless, in galactic standard. Unknown entities detected in restricted space. Threat protocols active, scanning for devourer traces. We need to get out. Now, Anthara said, though she already knew the truth. They had been detected. Something vast, something ancient, was stirring awake. On the terminal, new words, seared in fire-bright letters. Signal transmitted to Haven Station. Awakening sequence initiated. Defensive perimeter active in 72 hours. The Forbidden Zone was no longer silent. The galaxy was about to remember why some laws endured. Far beyond, deep within the Oort cloud where no vessel had traveled in 3 centuries, something stirred. Haven Station, colossal, hidden by space-bending cloaks, had drifted alone since humanity's last departure. A hollowed world larger than many moons, it carried the final remnant of mankind through the long, dark sleep. Inside, Admiral Kate Morrison felt consciousness rise, slow and heavy, like breaking the surface of a deep sea. The process was gentle, careful, engineered to wake humans from centuries of stasis intact in both body and mind. Across the chamber, thousands of other pods flickered, their occupants stirring at the signal Mars had unleashed. Status, Morrison demanded as soon as her voice returned. Even after 3 centuries, her bearing as a commander remained unshaken. "Admiral Morrison, this is Guardian," the station AI replied. "Unauthorized intruders detected in restricted territory. Facility 7 on Mars compromised. Defensive. Measures initiated. Preliminary scans identify multiple alien species in cooperation, likely a galactic alliance." Morrison sat upright as revival systems released her. Her muscles trembled from centuries of stillness, but her mind was sharp as ever. "How long have we slept?" 312 years, 7 months, 14 days. The weight struck, like a hammer. Everyone she had known before the long sleep, gone. Earth itself might be ashes. And yet, alien civilizations not only lived, but had forged some kind of federation. "Dr. Alex Turner to the command center," she ordered firmly. "Begin awakening protocols for all senior staff," Morrison ordered. As she moved through Haven's vast corridors, she passed the evidence of humanity's final gamble. Rows of pods lined the walls, each containing a sleeping figure tethered to life support systems that had endured flawlessly for over 3 centuries. These were not only soldiers and scientists, but children, artists, teachers, entire families, the very essence of humanity preserved until safety returned. Dr. Alex Turner joined her at the command hub, still shaking off the haze of stasis. As chief scientist and xenobiology expert, his role was vital in assessing the intruders. "Kate, what exactly are we facing?" "That is what we must determine," Morrison replied. "Guardian, show us everything you have." The primary display lit with feeds transmitted from Mars. The alien team moved cautiously through human-built halls, examining devices, accessing records, recording with meticulous care. Their behavior appeared cautious, even reverent. "Scientists, not soldiers. They don't look hostile," Turner noted. "See how carefully they catalog every detail? This isn't an invasion." "Perhaps not," Morrison admitted. But the truth remained. Their very presence had already triggered automatic awakenings across human space. Far beyond, deep within the Oort cloud, something immense continued to stir. Haven Station, cloaked, silent for centuries since the last human departure, shifted as its hidden systems powered fully online. Vast beyond comprehension, greater than many moons, it had carried the last of humanity through their centuries of exile. Within its core, Admiral Kate Morrison had risen from sleep like a swimmer from abyssal depths. The process had been exact, careful, bringing her back whole after 300 years of stillness. Across the chamber, countless pods awakened, their occupants roused by Mars' ancient signal. "Status," Morrison commanded as her voice regained strength. Centuries had not dulled the edge of command. "Admiral Morrison, this is Guardian," the AI intoned. "Unauthorized entities detected in restricted sectors. Facility 7 on Mars breached. Defense measures triggered. Initial analysis indicates multiple alien species cooperating, likely a galactic federation." Morrison pushed herself upright as stasis systems released her. Her body trembled from disuse, but her mind cut sharp. "How long have we slept?" 312 years, 7 months, 14 days. The answer hit like a physical strike. Everyone she had once known was long dust. Earth itself could be gone. Yet now she awoke into a galaxy reshaped by alien unity. The truth of that answer struck Morrison like a physical blow. Everyone she had known before the Great Sleep was dust. Earth itself might be nothing more than ash. Yet she stood here, alive, awakening into a galaxy where alien species had not only survived, but united into a federation. "Dr. Alex Turner," she said sharply, "to the command center. Begin awakening protocols for all senior staff." As Morrison moved through Haven Station's corridors, The evidence of humanity's final gamble surrounded her. The walls held row after row of stasis pods. Soldiers, scientists, artists, teachers, even children. The very best of humanity, preserved for centuries, their lives sustained flawlessly by machines. Humanity had not merely built weapons. It had preserved its soul. Turner arrived, still shaking off the haze of suspension. As chief scientist and authority on alien life, his judgment would be critical now. "Kate, what exactly are we dealing with?" he asked. "That's what we're about to find out," Morrison replied. "Guardian, show us what you've learned." The main screen flickered alive, displaying images relayed from Mars. The alien research team moved cautiously through human corridors, studying ancient terminals, recording every detail. Their behavior looked careful, curious, not hostile, yet their presence had already triggered dormant protocols across human space. "They seem like scientists," Turner observed quietly. "This doesn't look like an invasion force." "Perhaps," Morrison allowed, "but our defenses were not programmed to recognize intent. To them, scientists and scouts look the same. Guardian, status of automated defenses?" "All systems activating. Weapons at full readiness in 67 hours. Additional installations across human space have also initiated awakening sequences." Turner brought up a galaxy-wide display. Red icons blinked across dozens of stars. "Kate, that means thousands of our people are waking right now, all receiving the same threat assessment we are." A chill settled over Morrison. "And they'll assume these aliens are the same. Enemy we went to sleep fighting." "Exactly. The last memory they have is of a war against devourers who sought to consume all life. On screen, the aliens looked so small, so fragile. Hardly a threat compared to the weapons already aligning against them." "Can we communicate?" Morrison asked. "I am monitoring their transmissions," Guardian replied. "Their language is compatible with our protocols, but any broadcast from this station will reveal our location." Turner's eyes narrowed. "Their ship is transmitting to something called the Galactic Federation, a coalition of 12 species existing for over 2 centuries. 2 centuries, Morrison repeated, voice low. "They built a civilization while we slept." "Guardian, any match to devourer thralls?" "Negative. These are unknown species. However, the devourers could create false forms to infiltrate." Morrison closed her eyes, steadying herself. The war had ended in silence, and now, 300 years later, humanity stood at the edge of a new one. "Show me our current defenses." The display shifted, revealing Haven Station's arsenal. Weapons that could tear holes through space, energy cannons drawing power straight from the void. Humanity's last fortress had slept for 3 centuries, but now it was fully awake. Dark matter, missile platforms armed with warheads able to shatter entire worlds. Every system built to counter an adversary that existed partly beyond conventional reality. "Admiral," Turner said softly, "these aliens don't seem to have defenses against our arsenal. If our other outposts classify them as hostile and engage, it will be a slaughter. But if they are vanguards of the devourers, any hesitation could condemn every life form in the galaxy," Morrison answered. "We cannot gamble." Turner accessed the tactical streams from the Mars base. "Watch their actions. They're analyzing our machinery, attempting comprehension." The devourers displayed no curiosity, only relentless hunger. "These ones seem unlike them. Or perhaps they learned subtlety," Morrison argued. 3 centuries is sufficient for enemies to devise strategies anew. Guardian cut through their exchange. "Admiral, energy spikes detected from Installation Omega near the galactic core. Commander Stevens is powering his primary weapon grid." Morrison's chest tightened. Stevens had ranked among the fiercest officers of the conflict. A man who insisted the only good devourer was one annihilated. If he was readying to fire upon the alien researchers, there'd be no stopping him. Can we reach Stevens directly? Not without exposing our position and shattering silence protocols. Turner leaned closer. Kate, the decision is ours. Either we accept these beings at face value, or we presume the return of our darkest foe. The coming hours will define whether humanity becomes guardian of the galaxy or its executioner. Morrison gazed at the charging his main weapons array. Morrison felt dread settle in her chest. Stevens had always been one of their most ruthless commanders in the war. A man convinced the only good devourer was a dead one. If he was preparing to strike the alien survey team, nothing would stop him. Can we reach Stevens directly? Not without exposing our location and breaking calm silence. Turner leaned closer. Kate, we must decide. Either we trust these entities as they appear, or we assume they herald the return of our deadliest foe. The next hours will decide whether we are guardians of the galaxy or executioners of it. Morrison's eyes locked on the display, watching alien scientists continue their deliberate inspection of human systems. Such a tiny group to bear so much history's weight. Begin prepping contact protocols. If these beings are innocent, we owe them answers before our weapons erase them. Commander Jim Stevens felt the burden of authority return as he woke from centuries of cryosleep. Installation Omega drifted near the galactic core, its colossal guns built to defend humanity's most critical line. As the revival sequence ended, his first thought went to the war left unfinished. Guardian Omega active, the station's AI intoned. Commander, intrusions detected in restricted sectors. Unknown vessels have breached the quarantine zone studying human systems. Stevens pushed toward the command deck, reflex overriding the fog of waking. Tactical feeds now. How many hostiles? The primary display lit with data across human holdings. Alien craft reported at Mars, Europa, and several other sites. Their frames were small, survey ships more than warships. Yet Stevens knew the devourers relied on deceit. Enemy strength? He demanded. 12 life forms present at the central incursion. Additional craft hovering along the Sol perimeter. Energy traces imply a greater fleet beyond our scans. Stevens' jaw tightened. Exactly the probe pattern the devourers employed before striking. Charge main batteries. Lock the lead vessel. Commander, attempt dialogue first? Negative. We learned the hard way that speaking only grants them time to summon reinforcements. Our directive was clear. Protect the galaxy at all costs. On Mars, Dr. Nithara and her team were beginning to grasp the enormity of their error. The human installation around them pulsed with rising energy, their instruments registering colossal power surges across the Sol system. Whatever they had awakened was preparing for war. We need to leave. Now, Commander Raxton urged. But as he spoke, alarms flared across the complex. Their exit was sealed, and their ship's drives ignored every remote command. The humans have trapped us, Dr. Vexahana reported grimly. Their systems locked everything within 50 kilometers. On Haven Station, Dr. Turner fought the comms array, desperate to contact the alien team before Installation Omega's superweapon reached full charge. Admiral, I'm detecting immense energy buildup from Stevens' site. He'll be combat-ready within the hour. Morrison asked, Can we reach the aliens directly? Turner hesitated. Their systems are compatible, but any signal will be intercepted by every human defense in the galaxy. If Stevens thinks we're compromised, he'll fire on us too. Morrison's gaze locked on the tactical display. Thousands of stasis-bound humans, each facility armed with planet-crushing weapons. One misunderstanding could ignite civil annihilation. Open a channel, she ordered. We have no choice. Turner transmitted a focused beam to the survey ship at the Sol system's edge. Unknown vessel, This is Admiral Kate Morrison, Human Defense Force. Your people are in grave danger. Respond immediately. A reply came at once. This is Captain Weltar of Federation Vessel Harmony. We did not know humans survived. Our intent was peaceful. Merely research. Morrison's voice hardened. You are not in abandoned sites. You've triggered automated defenses. Every human installation is arming against alien presence. Silence. Then Weltar admitted, We are the Galactic Federation. 12 species united. We have honored the ban on human space for 3 centuries, but our younger scholars believe the danger ended. Turner's console spiked with readings. Kate, 7 facilities are charging weapons. Stevens isn't alone. Morrison felt history's weight crush her chest. Captain Weltar, listen carefully. We never abandoned our territory. We hid to resist an enemy intent on consuming all life. And our people may mistake you for them. Weltar sounded confused. What enemy? We have faced threats, but none so dire. Morrison's tone darkened. They were called devourers, entities half outside space-time. They consumed star systems, leaving only void. We stopped them, at the cost of erasing ourselves from civilization. At Omega, Stevens watched his arsenal prime. The alien ship remained passive, but so had the devourers before striking. Target acquired, Guardian Omega confirmed. Primary cannon charged. Fire, Stevens commanded. A beam of raw, stellar energy ripped across space, powerful, enough to shatter suns. It struck where the alien ship had been, but the vessel vanished. Target destroyed, Guardian reported. Stevens frowned. The energy profile was wrong. On Mars, the installation's defenses triggered instantly. Space-time. Twisted, forming an impenetrable shield around the research base. It's protecting us, Vexahana realized. These systems defend anyone inside, no matter their species. On Haven, Morrison's horror grew. The alien craft had dodged the strike, but now every human defense across the galaxy interpreted the blast as war's onset. Turner reported, 17 facilities charging, all preparing to fire on alien contacts, and Kate, something worse. Long-range sensors detect signatures of devourer manifestations breaching the rim. Morrison froze. Explain. Guardian's voice was grave. Our weapons fire is weakening the dimensional seals built to imprison them. Every discharge risks tearing new gaps. Turner's face drained of color. That war centuries ago, it wasn't only to defeat them. It was to build their prison. And now it's failing. Morrison whispered, Every shot we fire at the Federation brings the devourers closer. The galaxy was about to learn why some laws endured, and why breaking them risked extinction.